are Drip for Honi, and I'm Joe, and I'm joined by Amelia.
Hey. Where to begin, Joe?
I can start. Well, I think we got so many new ideas that they're so hard to sort of express in short form. But I think mainly we want to just have a new and fresh outlook on Honi. We're bringing in new faces, new ideas, new technology. We're considering, we are bringing in multimedia, and we're going to expand the comedy section too, just to name a few.
Yeah, and just to expand on that, we're super excited about our multimedia policy. Heaps of us are very proficient and experienced in multimedia platforms. It can feel like often multimedia is a promise, often made by prospective editors, but because we have actual training, sufficient training, confidence and competence, we're super keen to bring about podcasting, documentaries, expand Honi into a breadth of multimedia, and really just at the forefront of everything, continue upon modes of activism and really prioritizing student and workers' voices, because that's what the paper is there for. We just want to champion those voices.
Yeah.
One only really has to look to our writing and our extensive coverage of activism to tell that we take activism coverage very seriously, and we're willing to commit to activism, not just confined within the walls of the university, but especially with an election year on the horizon. We are really wanting to expand that activism and championing voices on a number of different levels, and that's a commitment that we're really willing to make.
And we're also really committed to, holding power to account and pushing the university in a direction which is more activist and more left-wing, I think. Yeah. I think at a certain level, they need to be heard. You need to actually hear them before you can criticize them. But look, it's no secret that especially with the Mark Scott interview, it was a bit on the safer soft side. I think our idea for our ticket is to really sort of hold them to the flame and sort of push for what students really want to know about and want to hear, because right now it's a very anxious time, and to sort of receive very sort of safe softball answers isn't what students want to hear.
Yeah, precisely. And especially when management already have the existing platform that they do have, being able to listen to people who really want to get to the bottom of these answers, get interesting responses out of them, not shy away from difficult questions and difficult conversations. We're completely willing to cut people off when they need to be cut off. We're completely willing to expose what we need to expose. And yeah, in a university environment where management is already given the platform that they are given, we're all of the belief that students' voices need to be championed in the paper. And yeah.
Definitely. And if that means making them feel uncomfortable, we're happy making them feel uncomfortable.
I mean, personally, this is speaking personally, I'm very prone to stress and anxiety, and I believe our ticket is not interested in creating anything that would become extremely divisive. We're of the position where we want Honi to feel safe, inclusive, informative, and we wouldn't want to publish anything that would feel targeting. We're not afraid of rocking the boat. However, we would not want to publish anything that would make people feel intimidated, or create a divisive environment in the paper.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing. I would say it's important that we talk about what is actually happening on campus in sort of real time and how it affects students. But I don't think kind of resorting to sort of a gossip column doesn't exactly give the right message.
Yeah, and that being said, with the intention of the gossip column being comedic, even though we won't have a gossip column, we are committed to comedy, and that is enshrined within our policies. We're committed to a 2-page spread of comedy. So a lack of a column of that nature would not constitute a lack of comedy.
And we can still talk about funny things that happen on campus in a comedic way too, obviously. Yeah. I see us having a very collaborative relationship where again, part of our sort of mantra, if you'd like, is inclusivity. We want to sort of like interact with every element on campus. And I think that can only better the paper. I think if we become insular and sort of, if you'd like, snobbish about what we can do and don't like engage with, I think that just shuts people off. Yeah.
Precisely. And just adding to that, with one of our policies being tangible multimedia coverage and bringing multimedia into Honi, that's something that Pulp has been smashing and doing really well. So I think, it's only natural that we have a collaborative relationship with Pulp. And ultimately, both publications are fighting the same issues. Both publications are on the same page with wanting to better the student body and the issues that affect us. So it's only natural that Honi and Pulp have that really good rapport and relationship. Well, as I said, with multimedia, I feel like there could be really good potential there for collaborative multimedia. As a member of Surge, we had a Pulp and Surge podcast, which was made. And being a part of that and helping create that, I think that was such a good model, an example of collaborative ties. And I feel like I'd be able to assist in modeling something completely similar in a relationship with Pulp and Honi. And even just collaborative reporting on issues, because as I said earlier, we're all kind of a part of the same experience, and we definitely have similar goals. So.
I think first and foremost, they would have to be a service to the people of this university. So they would be concerning topics of concern to students and also entertaining. Like we'll talk about, current issues on campus, the things that are happening within the bureaucracy of the campus, as well as student politics, and delivering that in a way that's digestible and accessible, because a lot of those things, like when you first read about them, they're very hard to understand. They're very, very hard to understand. So I think if we do that in a even comedic way, I think it would just engage students within, the process a lot more and a lot more comprehensively.
Totally. And just adding on to that, conversation is power. And when people are able to listen and feel like information is presented in a conversational way, that again contributes to creating an inclusive environment. And that's at the bottom line of any form of activism and any form of organizing. People need to be informed, and information needs to be presented in a digestible manner. And that being said, we will be accepting podcast pitches. So perhaps we can't even foresee the breadth of podcasts that we'd be able to produce, because we'd want to encourage innovative and creative pitches from students. With one of our policies being, really lodged in design and art forms and that sort of work, we'd really like to push boundaries there. We'd want Honi to be obviously excellent written and multimedia content, but really like a strong forefront of design, which ties it all together. So we definitely push our own aesthetic into the platforms, continue the use of Twitter, but definitely with our own flair.
I would say definitely austerity measures. Like I've obviously talked about this before in a very different way, but I think there's so much anxiety and fear about what all this means, and I feel like a lot of people on campus just feel like they're under siege constantly from the government and from the university bureaucracy. And I think if people are able to sort of understand like what is happening and engage with it in a comprehensive way, I think that would just greatly benefit student life, and we could deal with these issues in a much better way, a much more activist sort of way. Yeah.